Welcome, everybody. Welcome to Self-Love Sundays. What an honor it is to be here with you. I want to thank you so much for joining me. It's a beautiful, beautiful, powerful Sunday. And let me just make sure that we have our live stream going here, which we already set up. Let's see. Welcome everybody to YouTube. I'm going to go ahead and share this so you guys can see it. Perfect. All right, how is everybody doing? I hope you guys are having an incredible week. Welcome to SLS. Here on SLS, we're going to be focusing on the cultivation of the mastery of our life force. As you guys know, it's been a while since I've done this. I've been out in retreat for a couple months and much needed reconnection and really looking at how we're going to move through these energies of these next couple of years, because there's a lot of shifts happening and we kind of having to prepare. So that's what we're going to be focusing on moving forward. We're going through recalibration of frequency in the mind and the body as we're moving into stronger energies of this year. The first half of this year is going to be very intense, but it's going to begin moving things that are necessary to begin to change the direction in which we're going. So from now until 2027, we're going to be feeling the strongest impact of these shifts. There's going to be a lot of little micro wars. And so for that, we want to always come back to, again, all of these shifts are necessary in order to uncover the underlayers of the collective subconscious. And what we need to do is, as a participant of co-creation on this planet, begin to anchor a more powerful field of energy, okay? And so the growing of your light body is the key. We need to learn how to grow the light body in such a way that we are participating in the timeline selection of this collective shift. And we might find it, if you feel that you're helpless, if you feel that you're overwhelmed, if you're getting stressed out about the things that are being put out, please understand that there is a lot of psychological operations that are designed to move you out of your foundation of complete embodiment of connection. And we need to remember that and be able to look beyond the veil of all of this distortion of your power. Okay, so one of the greatest lies is that we are powerless, that we have no ability to change what is happening, that we have no participation. You are the greatest technology of this multidimensional experience. And so we need to learn to anchor that technology, because if you don't, you will, all of us will eventually tap into our powers and our abilities, to the higher cultivations eventually, because it's not a matter of it's a matter of ascension, which is part of the existence of being part of this planet. Incarnating in this physical body on this planet means that you're experiencing ascension. That's the whole point of the incarnation in the human body. So there's no option. And you're every day that you have realizations, that you have downloads, awakenings, new ways of looking at information, it's another layer of ascension that you're tapping into. So what is ascension? You're recalibrating your frequency to align with first of all the solar system, and then the universe and the multiverse at large. So we're kind of moving along with that progression of ascension. Every cell of your body is recalibrating and moving along with that in the field, in the quantum field. And you are a fractal of that infinite potential that is embodied here in the body, experiencing this physical aspect of this ascension experience. And remember that you are operating on many dimensions that are not physical. You're operating in many multidimensional aspects of yourself, especially in dream time, in which you are actively co-creating in other dimensions. Okay, so why that's important is because the more you understand and detach from the illusion of the matrix which you're incarnated in now, the more you're going to expand your light field, because a human that is distracted by the physicality of this incarnation completely loses the ability to master and control how they're moving life force through the body. They contract, we contract, right? So we're in stress, we're in survival. Your entire life force system is contracting, your DNA is contracting, you're not at your optimum function, you're not in your highest state of coherence. And when we talk about coherence, we're talking about we're coming into coherence with larger bodies of consciousness throughout this ascension, through this ascension process. Okay, so the first step right now is the coherence between mind and body. Okay, so the three Dantian centers, the three houses of energy that are managing the three main lineages of life force of creation. Okay, so your most primordial life force in the root, your survivals, your emotions, your creative energy, sexual life force, and then love, which is a higher octave of unification. The heart is the unification frequency that merges you and aligns you into coherence with a higher band of the non-physical fountain of life force. So the heart is the one that unifies mind, body, earth, and sky, matter, and non-physical. So the alchemist, which you are all becoming aware that you are, comes into play and participates in that when their awareness begins to consciously activate, link, bring into physical embodiment the non-physical aspects of yourself, the non-physical memory of yourself, everything that you are, have been, your incarnations, your future lives, past lives, your starseed lineages, whatever information you are able to access and recover from all of that you are, anchor that into the physical body. And what's the purpose of that? The purpose is not that we're able to tell amazing, fantastic stories about these experiences or to attach to identities of the things that we're tapping into. It is the process of expanding your perception, which is an expansion of DNA. Okay, so when you expand your perception and you create new neural pathways that transcend the limitations of your belief systems, particularly ancestral belief systems, that's when you're beginning to create neural pathways that reconnect you to the field, which is an infinite field of potential. And so when we talk about growing and expanding our field, we're growing and expanding our field multidimensionally. And we're talking about, and so what that looks like biophysically, like in the body, we are growing gray matter. In the brain, we're growing gray matter down the spine. We're becoming more conductive bioelectrically. Okay, and so we begin to come in and we can begin to shift brain frequencies by training ourselves to be at baseline in alpha state as a result of long-term meditation. Okay, so that's the cultivation and the regulation of the nervous system. And so without the regulation of the nervous system, we really have no control over emotions, and your emotional energy is your most valuable currency because that's creative life force. It's creative potential. So your ability to participate in the co-creation of this dimensional plane is all in your emotions. Why is it important? A lot of the things that are happening right now with disclosure, and I'm not just talking about UFOs and things like that. I am talking about the releasing of information of really, really deep things that have been hidden for a very, very long time. And they are extremely important because once humanity really understands what's at the base of that, you're going to understand how valuable you are as a human energetically, your energetic weight on this planet, and how much power you have to change and shift things. It's difficult to control a human that has that awareness. It's difficult to control, to manipulate, to make, feel, make, do things, and take them out of their baseline. So something that I really want you to kind of tune into at this time, what's being triggered by what you're reading, seeing, hearing, discovering, okay? Because there's a couple ways that psyops, psychological operations, are implemented in masses. One of them is the manipulation of your emotions, but there's a psychological process to that, right? So when you abuse someone, you put them under a lot of stress, a lot of anxiety. They don't know how to respond. That disconnect and that dissonance between the experience and the emotions and the body and the energy, all of that creates a fragmentation within the field. And that's a big deal. We have to understand how important your sovereignty and your mastery of your energy body is at these times, because this world is energy. It's all based on energy. And if it's one thing that we're discovering with what's being released, is that if you understand what you're reading and what you're seeing, because the human becomes with a lot of holes in their field when they go through trauma, okay? So severe levels of trauma, and actually sexual abuse is one of the most potent ways to fractalize a soul, okay? So it's really interesting what happens, and those techniques have been used in many different mind control systems, and it's happening in actually a massive level on the planet Earth, because it happens through the films that you're watching. It happens through what you're listening on the radio, even the music that you listen to, which completely distorts and inverts the natural order of love, of emotions, of feeling, of sex, of creation. And we actually, at this time, in this maturing process that we're being called to really anchor in right now. Okay, what does it look like to be mature? This mature spiritual maturity is to be able to hold space for the entire spectrum of frequencies, which is good and bad, right? Good and bad. The entire polarities that are available to us on this planet to experience. Can you have a regulated nervous system despite whatever it is that you're tuning into, whether it's the most atrocious thing you've ever heard or the most divine thing you ever heard? Can you sustain and master your energy field in a really stable, amplified state without distortion? Okay, so that is the invitation at this time. If you are confused as to how to do that, simply look at your triggers. Whatever is triggering you right now, whatever's taking you out of balance, that is the hole in your field that is being targeted. Okay, so when we have a lot of holes in our field, and so what creates holes in the field? Lack of presence, lack of full grounded embodiment, head to toes. You need to be aware of what your toes are doing right now, aware of what your back leg is doing, what your lower back is doing. Okay, there's no unconscious aspects of yourself, because your body is a fractal of the entire universe. And so when your awareness is only up here, you're only looking at a very small sliver of reality. Okay, so this is cultivated over time. You are expanding your range of frequencies by how you're learning how to process stronger emotions, stronger circumstances, mass global events. Because you see, all of you have had many incarnations on this planet, especially those of you that are here watching me and you're sharing with me. All of us are a collective of souls that have had lots of experience on this planet already. So you guys already, already, there's nothing really new. So part of this spiritual maturity is to be able to tap in to the higher self that has that all-knowing, and that can see the wisdom behind the illusion of these manipulations, whatever they are. And when I say manipulation, I'm not saying and discarding or dismissing anyone else's suffering or pain. I want to be very, very clear about that. The manipulation is your lack of awareness of how you respond to whatever is happening. Okay, it doesn't matter what is happening. It is how you are responding, because that's your creative responsibility. And so part of ascension and part of spiritual maturity is, are you taking responsibility for your participation in what's happening? Remember that everything that's happening globally and collectively is a reflection of what we've not met and what we've not dealt with in our subconscious mind. And some of you might say, oh my gosh, no way, that can never be a part of me. And I guarantee you that it is. And here's why. The behaviors that lead people to do atrocious things on this planet, the annihilation of another life, right, the abuse, all start with very basic needs that were not met. Okay, it's the wounding of the internal child that was not met. And we all have that. Every single one of us has that. We all have the child that wasn't met, the child that wasn't nurtured, the child that wasn't seen, the child that wasn't loved, that hadn't felt safe. Those are the seeds that grow into the suffering of the world, both yourself and everyone around you. And so nobody is free from that. Nobody is beyond that. Why? Because if you are a soul, a powerful soul that's incarnated into this planet with your ascension lineage, with your entire ancestral lineage, you have generations that you're healing and overcoming right now. Okay, so you need to realize your collaboration. Your incarnation is a collaboration of healing, not just for you, for the ancestral lineage and for the planet Earth, because the planet Earth is a conscious organism that is also evolving at the same time as, all of us. And so in the same way that we are evolving here on this planet, I take it from the perspective of DNA, because on the higher level, in the non-physical field of information, DNA is the core of where that blueprint information is being projected from. Okay, and so imagine you are the physical manifestation, you're the physical projection of DNA, of an aspect of DNA. And I'm talking about the global DNA, the DNA of the earth. You are a fractal of that collective information. And your life is so valuable because it's designed to shift frequency in that part of that genetic information of the whole. Okay, so every choice that you make, epigenetically, everything you eat, everything you feel, everything you think, everything you do in your life is participating in the recalibration of this collective frequency that heals or destroys the planet Earth. And so, one of the things as part of the spiritual maturity is to begin to really understand your participation. There's nothing that goes unseen in your mind, in your subconscious mind. So anytime we have thoughts of anger, hate, God, I could really, get angry at this person or do something, that is that little instinct, the seed of that instinct that is in the people that do atrocious things. Okay, they're just more advanced, I guess, manifestations of that, right? They're fully embodied manifestations of those fears, of those instinctual parts of themselves. So in the healing process, you're going to be met with your triggers. And as you go in the layers of the triggers, you're going to see where your child, your little wounded child is. And as you begin to meet the needs of that little child, you're going to be met with strong emotions that will take you, that are going to grow, because First, it's going to be your emotions and the layers of emotions. It's really intense when you don't take time to feel your emotions on the go. Okay, so if you ignore your emotions and what triggers you, even just a week, okay, at the end of that week, it's going to be really intense. So you're going to have to really pay attention and sit with what you have neglected within yourself. That's why the present moment is the most powerful. When you're in the present moment, you meet the emotions as they come right here, right now, not let them accumulate unconsciously. And then at the end of the day, when you have 15 minutes to meditate, you're overwhelmed with everything that has happened through the day. Okay. I also want to mention that part of the activation of the DNA is the recovery of memory. And what memory are we talking about? I'm not just talking about memory of your starseed lineages or your future lives, past lives. I'm talking about the memory of yourself in the present moment, because it's really interesting how we function. Because of the complexity and the beauty of your multidimensional body, every single chakra, remember, it's a vortex, it's a portal that actually allows you to enter into different dimensions. So whichever, and that dimensional reality is projected into your human experience, okay, in waking state and in dream state. So wherever your perception is mostly coming from, so whichever one of the chakras your perception is most coming from, it will create a filter of interaction for the world outside of you. So what that means is that when you're feeling these emotions, you're accessing the memory that is stored in that emotional library. Again, emotions are super important. And so every emotion that you feel has a memory trigger. The trigger is activating the memory body. Okay, why? Because let's say a feeling of helplessness was triggered by something you saw on Instagram for 1 second. Okay, and so that emotion of helplessness starts to activate the memory subconsciously of all the times you've been feeling helpless in your life. Once you go through those and you get back to the root, let's say the root of that helplessness was in your mother's womb, where mother felt helpless when she was having you in the womb. Okay, and so you took all that on, because when we incarnate into the womb, we start at 0 point. Okay, and it isn't until we start and we remember everything. 0 point is the connection to the all. So you're completely connected to everything, physical, non-physical aspects of yourself. And so as you experience the womb and you start to absorb the emotions of mother and father and all that are involved around that, you begin to form your filters at that moment. Okay, so what happens though is that also remember that you incarnate into that mother's womb, that specific mother with her specific genetic lineage. You incarnate in the womb because you are part of a procession of evolution for certain frequencies, archetypal frequencies. And so you're a match, you're a perfect match for your family. You're a perfect match. And when I say match, you're a higher octave, precisely designed higher octave of whatever these two lineages, father and mother, is. Okay, every generation is a higher octave, because they're equipped with universal information that helps them transcend the limitations of that ancestral bloodline. So every time that you tap into that, you're also going to begin to access collective memory of that trauma of hopelessness, for example. Okay, and this is going to happen more and more starting this year. What it means to become multidimensional is to begin to work in larger unified fields of the information. And so those of you that are being triggered right now, where a lot of things are being triggered in my practice, people are, sexual trauma, gender roles, abuse, helplessness, power and control dynamics that are completely out of balance. Those are some really strong themes that are coming up with everything that's happening in the world. And it's because we really need to heal this part of ourselves before we move forward. in these 10 years that we're progressing, we need to understand we are the end goal, where we're heading is to a higher class of civilization. Okay, a higher octave of civilization. What does that mean? We are going to turn into multidimensional humans that begin to communicate telepathically. That's the future. That's where we're headed. That is the ascension path that all civilizations take in their ascension. And we're going in that path. But to be able to reach the level of that path, a lot has to filter through the human experience. Okay, so to be telepathic means, first of all, you are completely able to create a 0 point in the body. So you're not interfering with your intrusive thoughts, messy thoughts, all of these disorganized emotions that you've not even met or cultivated or looked at. So this is the immaturity of the human race right now. We're completely lack of that control, of that mastery. And so this is the invitation. So I want you to take a look at, what do we need to begin to filter through all these parts of ourselves that don't let us come into our authenticity. Okay, so your authenticity is your most raw expression. Raw, I don't mean wild and uncouth or something like that. No. Most authentic, the truest expression of yourself, and the most honest that you meet yourself, and that you've met all parts of yourself, your shadows, your light, and can you still hold space for yourself? Okay, so that is alchemy. How do we reach that state? Is through the alchemization of judgment and fear, of rejection, of contraction of all parts of yourself through compassion, and then that cultivates unconditional love. This is the real work. Why? Because this is not just emotional or psychological. This is biological. It's an architecture of light that you're building in the body. Okay, so your geometry of your body changes. How you're holding your chakra bodies, how you're holding them, where you're perceiving the world changes the shape of your geometry. What do I mean by geometry? Because you're a fractal of the universe, and because the universe functions in the law of three, in the Fibonacci sequence, light moves through this physical body in very specific patterns and pathways. Okay, so your physical body has points of light and energy that are self-organized from lowest to highest in the body. And when those become blocked, or when they become stagnant, light cannot move through your body. You are light. That's not just a little saying that's really cute and interesting. You are light. You are a bioelectrical system of conductivity. And when you block conductivity in the body through the stagnation, through the rejection, through the suppression of all that is in your subconscious, that's the psychological element, that doesn't transmute into flow of life force. So again, we have to begin to move the energy of emotion, thought, beliefs. That's how we do that. And so the alchemization of that is to expand those belief systems into a higher octave, into a more broader range of perception every time. So those of you that are becoming very triggered by the things that are happening in your body, in your mind, by what you see outside, yes, there are those that wish to control and manipulate us. Okay, so this is a dualistic construct. So there's always going to be these dynamics. We have to mature enough to understand that and to see beyond that, because doesn't mean that we're helpless and enslaved, or it doesn't mean that we're, stuck in anything. You're not stuck in anything. You're stuck in the limitation of your mind, because you are an infinite being. That is a fact. That's an indisputable law of the universe. And you can test that as deep as you want. And I invite you to, because the more you begin to understand that you are life force and energy, that's how you will prove to yourself your capacity. And so these next 10 years are for you to really get to know your capacity. Okay, and the key is to always come back to the basics. Are you grounded fully in your body right this moment? Or are you just focusing on listening and watching this and forgot your body? Right there, you're already out of recalibration, out of coherence. You are out of coherence. And so you cannot ignore that this world, this space that you're in right now is fully alive. There are entities, beings, energies, plants that are conscious, crystals that are conscious, that are communicating with you right now. And so you can't fall asleep at any time. You can't forget yourself at any time. That's what it is to be human. To be fully aware and to be fully conscious of yourself and your body is to be fully embodied. And that what it means to grow resilience, spiritual resilience, is the ability to be able to be multidimensional focus. Your multidimensional focus is focused on your energy body. At the same time, you're able to have a conversation. At the same time, you can tune into the things that are around you. And you're not scared, you're not worried, you're not afraid. You have the multidimensional capacity to process all of this information. That's what psychics do, right? We call them psychics. You are all psychic. And nobody is special for being able to do that better. It's just an example of what you need to do. So in the old paradigm of the society that we've created, the model of success was to have education, the family, the white picket fence, have kids, get married. That's the thing. Okay. In this new era, it's, are you grounded? Are you fully authentic? Are you able to cultivate your intuition, your multidimensional capacity? Is your field expanded? Can you alchemize and hold higher bands of frequency in your body? That's what it means to come into the new era. So it's not focused. And the thing is that when you do that, you can work with the matrix much easier. Okay, so manifestation. And I'm going to be doing a class on manifestation. Yesterday, we had an awesome class in hypnosis. But at the end of this month, in March, we're going to be doing a very special event for the equinox. Because this is, for me, this is the real new year at the beginning of the spring. So for those of you that want to join me at the end of this month, we'll be doing a very special equinox for that, for the new year. Really, it's the birth of a new era. That's not just a saying. It really is energetically the birth of a new era. And so, we want to kind of look at what we need to shed. We're always doing this work. We're just doing it together, right? In a group. These are things that you are probably already working on. And so I will be hosting a class for manifestation because I have a lot of clients that are confused about what manifestation is. And we're kind of sobering up from this idea of the law of attraction that was so popular once, and all that taught. But that's not manifestation, and that's not really how the law of attraction functions. The way that we actually come into manifestation is by bringing your body into coherence and really, really profound, deep, unconditional love for yourself, which will always automatically align you with everything that you need. Okay, but this is not coming from a place of greed. It's not coming from a place of fear or need of safety, need of security. You got to throw all those programs away, because those are the programs that keep you in lack, in survival, and in the lack of abundance, right? So the way this system works is really about the intention of the energy that you're holding within your whole existence. Okay. So when you're aligned with your higher self, your intention here in this incarnation, in this physical body, remember, we're being reborn every minute. Every minute you're reborn. Every morning you're reborn. Okay. So there's no loss of time or nothing. Right here, right now, you just wake up consciousness. Okay, the next minute you just wake up consciousness. Okay, what does that mean? Again, fully bodied, fully anchored in yourself, and the more authentic. And authenticity is something that we need to train ourselves, because in this day and age, after so much conditioning, being authentic can be challenging because we are socially conditioned. We are engineered to not be authentic. Okay, we are engineered. That's a big thing. And what that means is biochemically, we are addicted to certain chemicals that move us away from the authentic chemicals, you can say. What would be the authentic chemicals? So something that we are in a state of peace, in a state of harmony, not aiming for approval or validation. Okay, because there's lots of chemicals that we produce when we are in that hyperdrive of energy, right, of stimulation. And so those stimulated emotions and chemicals in the body are manipulated by social media, for example, by movies, films, music even. Okay, so pay attention to how you are responding. And so these are things that I'm saying because when I was going through my awakening, I couldn't watch TV, I couldn't watch films, I couldn't listen to music because I had cultivated such a stillness that I would feel the difference when I would listen to something, how it would affect the body. It's a really huge effect when you start to really pay attention to that. Okay. And so for the unconscious person, that can begin to change the way you feel. And you might not even realize why all of a sudden you're angry or why all of a sudden you feel irritated. So that's why awareness is so powerful. As you begin to refine your ability to become aware of your surroundings, wherever you are, you will get to know yourself very deeply. And nobody can manipulate you. Nobody can move you from your baseline, no matter what is happening around you. And so, of course, that means that you need to be okay with truth. And it means that you need to be able to be okay with darkness, the unknown. Okay, so the next step is that you're working with your relationship to the unknown. And that's if I would say that the human experience is one thing, it's that we learn to master the relationship with the unknown in this dualistic experience. It's really interesting, really beautiful. But the more that you become okay with letting go of identifications, attachments, the idea of safety as comfort, okay, you're going to be able to train yourself. Again, the neutral point is the key to success in this human life. Because when you are in neutrality, not only is your DNA expressing at its highest potential, at its full expression, okay, but you are able to take a pause before your reactions. And therefore, that's pure creation. Because anytime that you don't take a pause and you're reacting immediately, you're just basically feeding in the loop of repeated patterns, repeated constructs that we're just reinforcing unconsciously. So so the change right now, things that I want you to focus in your meditation, just notice in these triggers, we're going to be healing the divine feminine, we're healing the divine masculine, we're healing our aspects in our relationship with sex. And I think that's something that's going to be changing in the coming years. is our understanding of sex. Okay, and it's something that I was able to understand over many years of looking at these kinds of ritual things as well, because you begin to understand why those ritualistic practices work the way they do. Okay, so there's very, very dark ritual practices, and there's also the light. This planet Earth has not even understood the light yet. Okay, so we need to be re-educated in working with our sexual energy. We're not talking about pleasure. We're not talking about, romantic relationships. We're talking about your primordial life force that is within each and every one of you. That is actually the most potent creative life force in your body. And so when this is abused, when it is wasted, it is the distortion of your connection to the divine. And these parasitic systems want you completely in that distortion. Because it's very easy to implement very specific constructs and systems of power to deplete further from that energy. Because again, parasites, right, they're feeding. So it's not an illusion that there are parasitic systems that feed off your suffering. They feed off your fear. Just in the same way that the light grows and expands when we nurture and nourish that, cultivate that. Parasitism is also feeding off and taking life force. So I did an entire write-up on energetic boundaries, spiritual boundaries last week. Definitely check that out if you're subscribed to the newsletter. But this is a really, really important theme, and it's one that's coming up energetically. I talked about yesterday astrology, universal cosmic systems, because the way that planets are moving, remember, we are part of a conscious organism, where the solar system is a conscious organism, the universe is a conscious organism. And so everything that's moving, each conscious organism, each planet, as we know it as a planet, it's a conscious organism of archetypal memory. Okay, so whatever movement it's doing, because movements are they're degrees of frequencies. Every time a planet moves, it's shifting in a degree of the frequency. And so we're going to feel that. Okay, the more unconscious you are, the more you're going to be affected by those things and not understand how to work with that. But the more conscious you are, these are themes that are going to be gently coming up for you in your meditations. Okay, only to later find out that, that's the theme that everyone's working on. So the beauty is that we're part of this ascension, this intelligent ascension process. And when you pay attention, you're going to receive those downloads, those informations, those awarenesses of the parts of yourself that you need to look at this time. Nothing is random. That's the beauty of this universe. Nothing is random. Everything that comes to you in your awareness is an invitation for a healing of a part of yourself. And so don't neglect that, because it's going to come stronger and stronger in other ways until it manifests into the physical, either in your body or through relationship dynamics, which are usually the most challenging. Okay, so for those of you that love yourself, that are compassionate, you're going to be paying attention and taking it in that moment and working with it. Okay. Okay, guys, let's get into the meditation. And yeah, so great to see you guys. Love you guys. I see lots of questions. I'm going to answer the questions at the end. Please go ahead and leave your questions in the chat. Thank you so much, Mark, for that super chat. I really appreciate your super chats. You're so generous and loving. Yeah, go ahead and put your questions in capital letters so that I can see them. And we'll go from there. All right, guys, let's go ahead and get into the meditation. Allow yourself to get nice and comfortable. Breathing, inhaling deeply and exhaling. And allow yourself to come fully into the body. We're going to go ahead and ground ourselves. Go ahead and create your energetic connection to the earth. You're going to expand your field enough to feel the rotation of the earth through your body as you are recalibrating yourself back into coherence with the earth. We're going to begin to feel your field around you. You're going to visualize your bubble around your body, which is essentially your energy body. Your toroidal field. I want you to see your toroidal field around you completely solid with no openings, no holes, no tears. See the center of the toroidal field, which is the center line of your source cord. Just go ahead and tap in, take a look at how the quality of your source cord is right now. Is it super thin? Is it only coming up to your chest? Can you not feel it? Can you not see it? I want you to anchor that source cord through the center column of your body, down to the perineum, down to the center of the earth. And you're going to expand the source cord in your body. Breathing deeply. And so by the end of this practice, our toroidal field should be moving and spinning fluidly. But in order to do that, we got to remove the debris and blocks in the energy body. So as you begin to breathe into the base of your spine, notice if your field, your toroidal energy body is contracted or expanded. Take your time to repair any last tears, holes, openings in your field. And I want you to call your energy back into your body from people, places, and things that you've interacted with in the past 24 hours or in the week. You're going to own your space. Everything inside this toroidal field is what you can control. Everything outside of this is what we cannot control. We're going to start to work with the root chakra at the base of the spine. I want you to spin it as fast as possible. We're going to visualize a wave of white light that comes down, shines on the root chakra. You're going to clean out any debris in the root chakra body. Go ahead and clean out the root chakra body. The entire toroidal root body. From top to bottom, front to back, side to side. use your imagination as a tool to see, to activate your intuition in order to move whatever you see in your field. So if you feel in the back of the root chakra, it feels really dark and cloudy, or you can't even imagine or visualize it, that's exactly where you are holding stagnant energy. And that's the part that has to be cleared out. So you can use your crown chakra. For those that have been working with me for a long time, you guys have your creative color in your crown, but you can shine white or gold light from the crown chakra, the seventh chakra, on top of that debris and dissolve it. And you can send that debris down to the center of the earth or up through the crown of your head, whatever feels easier. Be very thorough. Let's go up to the sacral. You're going to shrink the sacral down to the size of a dime. And you're going to do the same, spinning it as fast as possible, clearing with white light all the debris inside the sacral chakra, front, back, side to side, top and bottom. It's a great way for you to acquaint yourself with the quality of different frequency matter that you have in your body. So blocks will have different densities. Just clear it all out. Let's go up to the solar plexus. Go ahead and shrink the solar plexus down to the size of a dime, clearing out any blockages in the solar plexus. You begin to feel nice and lighter as you do so, especially in the first three chakras. So right now, your first three chakras should be shrunk. Remember, you're not turning them off, you're not blocking them. You are beginning to control your energy system so that we can come into reading state, so that you can begin to cultivate the heart, the throat, and the third eye. Breathe deeply, allow yourself to just adjust to how this energy is shifting in your body. You're going to go up into your heart now. I want you to expand your heart chakra front and back, opening the center of coherence. You're going to spin it as fast as possible, clearing out the heart chakra body. Again, these chakras are toroidal bodies. You are enclosed inside of these toroidal bodies. Clear top, bottom, front to back, side to side. Go up into the throat chakra, expanding the throat, front and back, spinning and clearing the throat chakra body. You're going to go up into the third eye. Go ahead and expand the third eye. So right now, your energy body from the center column looks like a martini glass. But your toroidal energy bodies, your heart, your throat, your third eye are expanded larger than your root, your sacral, and your solar. This is called reading state. It's the activation of your intuitive body. You're going to go up into your crown now. Go ahead and expand the crown chakra, opening the center of, this is your higher self. And for those of you that have a creative color, go ahead and fill it in with your creative color. Creative color is the color frequency of your higher self. Basically is defining where you're at in your spiritual journey and what you're primarily working on healing at this time. So we're going to align the higher self with our career, family, abundance, relationships, our children, health, vitality, money, your spiritual evolution, and finally your purpose. You're going to expand the crown toroidal field around you. I want you to take a moment here, breathing 3 breaths, allowing yourself to recalibrate your body. Excellent. And we're going to go deeper. I want you to select a color that represents the most potent healing for you at this time. It can be more than one color. You're going to begin to absorb that color frequency from the center of the earth through your feet. Imagine your feet are like straws absorbing from the earth this color of energy up your legs, up into your solar plexus, creating a vortex of energy at your center core. Allow that healing energy to begin to rotate in your field. And you might notice that the energy is moving sluggishly, or it's hard to move it. It's basically getting blocked by debris that you have in your field. So that's okay. We're going to clear out whatever needs to be cleared out in a second. Do your best to try to move that energy as fluidly as you can around your energy body. From source, go ahead and pull down a powerful wave of gold cosmic energy that comes down through the crown of your head, combining with this earth healing energy. You're going to mix those 2 colors in your entire toroidal field. Breathing. Go ahead and take 10% of that energy back down to the center of the earth. You're pulling cosmic energy through your body and into the earth and healing your body. You're going to focus back on the center core. You're going to take 80% of this combination up your spine. And from the crown of the head, coating the outside of your toroidal energy body. Clearing your relationship with the matrix. I invite you to call back your energy from people, places, and things that no longer serve you. Cut cords to draw back your energy. Go ahead and take the final 10% and absorb it into the body, into the pores, the flesh, the muscles, the bones, down to the cells of your body. Go ahead and absorb that healing energy and that cosmic energy into every cell of your body. From head to toe. Very good. Now that you're here, you are running energy through your body. Allow yourself to connect to the center cord of light. I want you to see that center pillar of light down through the crown of your head, down to the center of your body, into the center of the earth. And just repair that center cord. If that center cord is like missing pieces, or it doesn't feel complete, or like a fluid flow of energy, go ahead and make it fluid, make it flow. Remove any blockages that are in the way. I want you to visualize a house. This house represents your soul. And in the first room of that house is going to be all of the karmic agreements that you made to come into this planet. The karmic experiences that you have assigned for yourself to learn. You're going to eliminate all of those contracts that are being learned through karma and suffering and pain, leaving that room completely empty. Go ahead and do that now. Clear the room of all these karmic contracts. You're going to shine your crown light on top of those karmic contracts to dissolve them. Once this room is completely empty, you're going to fill it in with your creative color, the color of your higher self. As you set the intention that you're going to learn everything through compassion, love, and awareness, instead of experiencing them in an unconscious state. Go ahead and begin to observe the past 24 hours of your life. And I want you to notice what is the strongest trigger in the past 24 hours. Allow yourself to tap into the emotion that came up for you the strongest, located in your body. What part of the body is storing that emotional memory the strongest? Be absolutely present, and I want you to name out the emotions that come up. Go ahead and select the strongest of this list of emotions. And we're going to repeat. Go ahead and focus on this emotion now. What part of your body is storing the memory of that emotion? Take yourself there. And as you focus on this part of the body, name out the emotions that come up. Be absolutely present with that emotion. And once again, you're going to name out the list of emotions that come up. As you are discovering what are your primary, secondary, and tertiary emotions in order to unpack the layers of programming that you've created from this one experience. And as you identify the strongest of these emotions, I want you to notice when is the last time you experienced that emotion. Just take yourself to that memory or memories of the last, most recent time that you've experienced that feeling, that emotion, that experience. And just observe from a neutral perspective. I want you to take yourself back to the very first time in your life where you felt this emotion. You can go as far back as the womb. Take yourself there. Go ahead and watch yourself in that experience. Notice how old you are, or notice your state. And I want you to notice what you're feeling in that moment as you observe yourself having this experience. What emotions are being triggered in your body at that moment. As you name out those emotions, begin to observe how you're responding. Take a look at who is triggering these emotions in you. Is it father, mother, or someone else? You can notice if they are a father figure, a mother figure, a man or a woman. And as you begin to observe what is being triggered in you, I want you to ask yourself, what is it that you need from the person that is triggering this emotion in you? And just observing if they have the tools to be able to provide that to you, whatever it is that you need in that moment. And take your attention back to yourself, and you're going to ask yourself, what do you need from yourself in order to no longer feel these emotions? If you would be able to give yourself anything from yourself towards yourself, what would it be? And allow yourself to provide that self with everything that it's required. I want you to fill your body with what you need. Feel what it feels like to have that. Allow that younger version of yourself to feel it and see how it transforms her perception of the experience, he or she. And fill your body with what you need. And I want you to bring that emotion into your body so that you can get very acquainted with this frequency of this emotion. And name out the emotions that begin to emerge as you embody this emotion. Notice how your chakras might respond as you embody this emotion, how they shift. Right now, you are feeding a new library of emotional frequency into the body. And so once you've identified what you need, visualize a color for that emotion. And you're going to just fill your body with that color. Let's say what you're giving yourself is self-assurance, self-trust, self-belief. And that color for you is yellow. Allow yourself to fill your body with yellow, your entire toroidal energy system. And you're going to infuse that into the pores, the cells of your body, and just watch how the body responds as it begins to recalibrate to this new frequency. And just watch what emotions begin to emerge as you embody this new perception. You might notice that you feel more calm. You might notice that you feel safe. Each one of these things that you're listing out is a very important entire library of information. Safety might be something that you've never felt before, but you're feeling now for the first time. So I want you to get very acquainted, for example, with that emotion. Whatever emotion it is for you, it can be different for you. And what you're going to notice is that when you feel every emotion and you're absolutely present with it, you're going to teach yourself the layers of emotions that are available. These are layers of frequencies that are available to you as you deepen your understanding and your embodiment of this. until you reach a state of peace and you reach a state of bliss, which is the embodiment of source in your body. So our focus is to bring ourselves back into that source embodiment, into that state of peace. Every time you do this for an experience in your life, you are alchemizing and you are expanding your range of emotional frequencies into a higher octave. So allow your body to fully get familiar with this new emotion. Take a look at the most recent versions of yourself that have experienced this pain and let them absorb this colored light, this information into their bodies. And you can watch their response, their shift, until you bring it to your body here now, applying it to your present life experiences, how it would be for you to embody this new understanding in your body. I want you to call back the fractals, all the fractals of yourself in your life that have felt this way, and infuse them with this frequency. And you're just going to gather your energy back into your body. Okay, go ahead and cut cords with the past, all of these past memories, call back your energy, let go. You're going to notice how your ancestors have also repeated this pattern, and you can observe how they shift when they embody this higher frequency pattern. We're going to go ahead and focus on the root chakra at the base of the spine. You're going to open it back into a balanced state. You're going to open the sacral back into a balanced state. Open the solar plexus back into a balanced state. You're going to close the heart just a little bit, the throat just a little bit, and the third eye just a little bit. You're going to go up into your crown chakra of your higher self. Just notice the color that is there. You're going to illuminate the 9th, the 10th, the 11th, 12th, the 13th, the 14th, 15th, 16th, 17th, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24th chakra. So you've activated all your chakras up to the 24th, and above you is a powerful white light of source. I want you to pull that white light of source down to the center core of your body, down into the center of the earth. And go ahead and tune into your toroidal field and just notice how the energy is moving in that toroidal energy body. Is it spinning? Is it flowing more fluidly than when you began? Breathing deeply. And go ahead and open your eyes. And with your eyes open, I want you to see your grounding cord. I want you to see your toroidal energy body with your eyes open. I want you to see all your chakras with your eyes open as you cultivate this vision of being aware of your multidimensional body and being fully engaged in your environment. You guys did amazing. I want to thank you so much for joining me today. It was such an honor to share with you. If you guys have questions, if you guys want to work one-on-one, you know where to find me, GeraldineRoscoe.com. And I'm happy to work with you in any capacity that is best for you. I'm going to answer a couple questions. Let me come into the chat here, you guys. I have you on the Zoom and YouTube. Awesome. Andrew Noam, welcome. Nico. Nikolov 888 says, this is what I keep trying to do to come back to love because I am triggered lately. I understand completely. It's a strong polarizing things that are happening in the world. It's hard to witness suffering. But once we acknowledge what is happening, just come back to the present. Come back to the present. Bring yourself every time back. Philip St. John, so glad you're back on live. Hard to find meditation potent as yours. That's amazing. Thank you so much for being here. I'm so glad you like it. I'm going to Gynestara. So great to see you. Welcome. My husband passed away from liver cancer 4 months ago. Just before he passed, he clenched his teeth twice from a spiritual perspective. Is there any meaning or symbolism in this? Thank you. That's interesting. I've not heard anything directly about clenching teeth, particularly, but yeah, I'll look into that, Andrea, and I'll get back to you. That's really interesting. Please put your questions in capital letters so I can find them. Do you train Qigong? It would be fantastic to have you as a teacher. I'm struggling to find a good teacher for this art. Do you have any suggestions? Yes, I do teach Qigong. I've not done it in a while. I've been meaning to get back to that for us here on this channel, actually. So I am planning on filming some instructional videos on Qigong, but there are a couple of my favorites in Qigong. One of them is Luke Chan. He teaches like alchemical Qigong, esoteric Qigong, really, really profound practices. It goes a little deeper than just the more popular Qigong practices. But I also love Yo Chi. She's fantastic. And she teaches Qigong really, really great. And then who else? Yeah, I can't remember right now off the top of my head, but those are a couple that I would really, really suggest. But yeah, I will be bringing Qigong to this channel soon. Thank you so much, guys. It was so wonderful to have you. I started getting a headache while I tried to connect to the Earth's spin, and it has only gotten worse with the exercise. Bad timing, or perhaps to do with following the directions. Yeah, Andrew, definitely pace yourself. I would take a look at whether we have a lot of technology around us and spend a little bit more time in nature if you can, if you haven't done that. Because oftentimes when people get headaches, when they start doing energy work, it's because they have a lot of stagnation in the energy body. And when you go into nature, nature automatically resets all of this for you. Everything that we're doing in the meditation is something that happens automatically in nature. Energy can move through the toroidal energy system fluidly, just like we're doing. We're spinning that energy, cleaning the center channel, and then connecting to source. So this is something that happens naturally. So if you go into nature, it might alleviate some of that heaviness that is in the energy body. And headaches, couple reasons. I would look at the liver channel in your body, the meridian, liver meridian in the body, and flush out any anger, any heavy emotions that you're storing. Because again, when we're moving this energy and we got a lot of heavy emotions that are unprocessed, it's a big like shift of energy that we're bringing in. So it's always good to clean the energy body before you don't force any kind of spinning or moving or anything like that in the energy body. Just gently work with clearing the energy body. It can be as simple as just doing this several times a day. Actually, I do it like 4 or 5 times a day where I clean my energy body when I'm washing dishes or, you know, whatever it is, cooking. Just kind of bring that practice continuously, and it's going to lighten for you. Okay. Also, breathing is really important. Make sure that you're breathing down to the base of the spine, and expanding that breath in the body. That's going to help move the energy really good. Okay. Amazing, guys. Thank you so much. Oh, here in the chat, um, I'm confused about expressing too much emotions and getting lost in a trauma loop and just expressing emotions naturally to sustain a 0 point balance. Any thoughts about this? Yeah, so 0 point is really the opposite of that. So 0 point is the neutral observer, the one that's observing everything. Okay, so the thing about emotions, emotions are scary for us because for most of our lives, they've kind of been really strong reactions, you know. And so the thing is to shift from just purely feeling, because what happens is that we feel an emotion and then it's overwhelming. We don't understand it. We don't even know where it came from sometimes, or sometimes we do, but it's still very overwhelming. And so we get stuck in the feeling of it. And so we feel it here, and then we just feel and feel and feel the heaviness and the tightness in the solar plexus or the chest or the throat. And so that becomes an addiction because biochemically we're releasing a lot of chemicals every time we get feeling those emotions. So that's different. That's the opposite of processing an emotion. We need to come into the observer. Okay. And this takes practice. This is not something that's terribly easy because it takes a practice to kind of put yourself into almost as if you can imagine yourself outside of your body, watching yourself feel the emotion, but at the same time, still connecting to how you're processing that emotion in the body. And what this will do is that you're going to notice that when you watch the feelings, like actually observe them, they start to dissipate very quickly. And so that's what you want. And then at the tail end of that dissipation, you're going to be getting information. You're going to get flashes of memories of things that happen in those emotions. You're going to have insights on why you feel that way, clarity as to the origin and the reason why you're feeling that way. And that is the gold. That's what you want. And we can really only reach that information by observing the emotion rather than getting stuck in the loop of feeling it. So it's a little different. We get lost in the trauma because we're lost in the story that is connecting to the feeling of it. So for people that have trauma that they keep getting stuck in this one story that they keep repeating over and over, it means that first of all, you haven't fully acknowledged all perception. So in a traumatic experience, there's your perception, there's the other people's perceptions that are involved in it. And to heal, we really need to observe, kind of take into account all the observations. Okay, this is the deep work. Put yourself in your shoes, put yourself in their shoes to begin to observe a broader perspective. That's one thing that will break the trauma loop because you're going to begin to understand and develop compassion, not only for yourself, but also other people. And what that does is that it takes you out of victim mode because a lot of times why we're stuck in trauma is because we're completely stuck in an archetype of that trauma, either the victim, or some part of us that feels helpless in that. So you want to take a look at the part of you that keeps not accepting what happened to you fully. Number one, it's a lack of acceptance. We just don't want to accept what happened to us. We don't want to accept what other people have done to us. And we usually don't want to accept what other people do because we don't allow ourselves to further understand what is happening. If that person simply doesn't have the tools to be able to provide us any other experience in that moment, what's the point of us expecting that, feeling that, and being angry for that? It's just a deterioration of your own self in that moment. You're really abusing yourself. And what you'll find is that self-abuse is actually repeating what that person knows, because that's all that person knows. People give you, when we experience things with each other, they give you as much as they know. They're not going to give you beyond what they understand and know. So the spiritual maturity is to begin to move away from just the perception of the experiencer to the one that can begin to see the dynamics behind experience and behaviors and reactions. and take into account whether people have the tools to give us what we are expecting. That's usually why trauma is occurring in that moment. We have an expectation for a father figure to behave in a certain way, and then they abuse us in some way, and then it creates a disconnect. And we can't accept because we have a very profound construct about how things should be, and that's not the ultimate truth. So the last part that I want you to consider in this healing of trauma, ask yourself the question if what you're feeling is really the ultimate truth, or is it just the truth of that one perception, that one part of that experience, that one filter of how you're looking at things. This will, that saying the truth will set you free, the more you're able to see more expanded truths in your experience. That's how you're gonna really understand what is really the truth of things. So yeah, and then yeah, so every emotion that comes up, go into observer. Don't apply any unnecessary or additional meaning to the emotion that you're feeling. Allow whatever to come up naturally, as you mentioned, and then name them out, acknowledge them. And so acknowledgement of an emotion is both a physical thing and it's also a mental, psychological thing. Okay, so sometimes we want to bypass, and that's something really important. We feel something and we don't want to feel that, so we just avoid feeling it, and this might happen subconsciously, and that's another reason why we get stuck. So every single emotion you need to acknowledge. There's no emotion that we don't need to acknowledge. Funny enough, a lot of people, when they start to feel good emotions, they just want to pass right through those. They don't really want to pay attention to those. So everything that comes up is a valuable, it's an entire lineage of memory that you're holding in your body. And so it's important in the healing process to acknowledge every emotion and really truly understand, where does that emotion come from? How do I play that emotion? How have I learned to express that emotion? How have I learned to embody that? And who taught me that? Or where does that come from in my life? That's going to open up an entire library of information for you. Okay. Thank you so much. I hope that answers the question. Victoria says, what do we clear in karmic contracts? I feel like I'm shifting lineages with love. Yeah, so every single human, as I mentioned, we are an entire, when you choose to incarnate into this planet Earth, your soul is designed to, at a higher octave, to transcend the limitations of your ancestral lineages. So your agreements are coming from mom and dad experiences and their ancestral lineage. You're part of that family already, okay? And you're also part of the universal family. So your karma simply means cause and effect, okay? So the cause and effect of the things that your parents have chosen to do in their life and all the ancestors are contributing to your choice in learning what you wanted to learn through your life experiences. And so your life experiences will present the opportunity for you to transcend everything that has not been transcended in those life experiences of your father and mother's lineage. That's what karmic contracts are. And they're basically repeated patterns of behavior, limitations of our potential. So we want to clean that karma up on a daily basis, because otherwise we are just repeating and spinning in the slush of those memories over and over again unconsciously. Okay. So the invitation is to, when you clean that out, you can make some room for higher octave energies in your body by neutrality, by cultivating neutrality. Every time you're cultivating deeper states of neutrality, more expanded states of neutrality. Because the neutral is completely, it cannot be touched by any one thing because it's all. So where karma is a very specific energies and information that we keep running through. That's why we have archetypes that we, attach to. So karmic contracts are very connected to the strongest archetype that you're running in your life. So pay attention to what is the strongest archetype. Usually that will be very linked to all the karmic experiences that you keep repeating over and over. The invitation is to break those loops and to transcend the archetypal overlay and influence that you're having. So when we're cleaning karmic contracts, this is when we break the contracts, that's the energetic work. Okay, so what that looks like in the field is basically you're taking all of that heavy stagnant energy in your entire energy body and you're clearing it out. Okay, so that's why the cleaning of karmic contracts is super important. Okay, because if you don't clean that, you're basically going to be stuck in perceptions over and over again. You might feel like you're, going forward, but you're always going to keep coming back to certain repetitive things that you can't seem to break. And that's because you're not working with karmic contracts. Okay, secondly, there's different layers of karmic contracts that you're going to experience on your journey. More obvious things that are trauma from your parents, but then there's larger contracts, right? With like collective contracts in your ancestral lineage. And then there's global contracts that we're here to share. Experiences like these disclosure things that are coming out here on Earth trigger very important archetypal elements of the entire human race that are needed to be cleaned. So that's a karmic contract agreement that we have as a human race. Also, countries have karmic contracts as well. So anyway, it's a beautiful self-organizing system of information. But essentially, you're cleaning out repetitive patterns, subconscious patterns. It's all the subconscious mind. Lady M, thank you so much for this fantastic clearing session. On the manipulation of sexual energy you mentioned before, can you share your thoughts on celibacy in relation to the primordial life force? Many things. Yeah, that's a really big topic and a good place. I actually have an entire class on sacred sexuality that you can check on my website to do a deep dive, because it's a really, really deep topic that requires an understanding of several parts. But a short overview of this. Let me see what part I want to focus on here. Celibacy. So the sexual union of a man and a woman is actually one of the most sacred and divine and highest spiritual levels that you can reach, on a very, very deep level. And it's one of the hardest, as you know, because in relationships and partnerships, it is where all of your deepest, darkest aspects of yourself come to the surface really, really quick. Okay, so the quickest way for you to know where you need to do work is by having a partnership and having all that come up for you, right? The invitation is to be able to do that on your own before you get into those relationships. But anyway, every single relationship, even if you have done your work, a relationship will always trigger, if it's not individual, larger level contractual agreements that you need to clear within your field. And everyone in this universe is learning how to clear blocked experiences with all the experiences that you have. Relationships are one of the most powerful, because in sexual union, you're literally merging universes. And the way that we move with energy when we haven't cleaned our energy body triggers a lot. You become a mirror, you become entangled in a very profound energetic way. Okay, so when we talk about celibacy, it's not to say, my point for saying this, it's not to say that celibacy is the highest form of spiritual evolution, because it's not. There's no really one right or wrong way to do that. But the focus for the spiritual seeker is to dissolve, primarily when you're working with sexual primordial life force, is your fear of creation, which is one of the strongest traumas that the human has, and that has to learn how to transcend, because this earth, in this incarnation, is about creation. That is the whole point of the incarnation into this physical. Learn how to be a god, learn how to be a creator. Okay, so you want to look at your fears about creation, and that's everything. Creation of your, whether it's your actions or the words that you speak, the thoughts that you're thinking, these are all creations. The children that you birthed into this planet, those are all creations. And so you want to look really deeply into your bloodline as to what that is. When I see a lot of celibacy in a bloodline, or trauma with sex, for example, in that way, it means that we've had many generations of the misuse and abuse of that life force, of that creative life force. It can be sexual abuse, or it can be just abuse of your power in many different archetypal ways. So you want to take a look at your relationship with creation, with power, all the primordial instinctual desires that you have in your subconscious mind, and begin to heal those perceptions, make them whole, okay, instead of just try to compartmentalize them or to separate them. Because something that we're going to be learning as we evolve is that the connection between sexuality and spirituality, that's actually one of the highest alchemical levels, is when we can learn how to master our sexual energy and embody the spiritual aspect of that sexual energy. It's very hard to do. Not a lot of people can do that. And this concept was used to model what we now see in religion, which is an inversion of truth, of priests that have been designed to be celibate, which has gone wrong because they weren't instructed on how to do that properly. The ancient mystery schools taught the cultivation of your primordial sexual energy into spiritual expansion. And so when you transmute the sexual energy, it can heal the body. Okay, we can use it to heal. It's one of the most potent healing energies. And so all the adepts of these ancient mystery schools use the sexual energy to bring back into the body, because that's raw life force. And so you can bring that to nourish the body. You can use it to reach higher states of out-of-body navigation. You can use it to heal higher aspects of yourself interdimensionally in lucid states of dreaming. Very, very powerful alchemical abilities that you can cultivate by the cultivation of your sexual energy. So all that to say, the goal is not celibacy. It's much more than that. It's the cultivation and the understanding of the mastery of your primordial life force, and to learn how to alchemize that into creative potential. Whether that's to bring your body into the optimum function, whether it's to activate higher faculties, or to create on much higher dimensional levels. If most of humanity knew how to do that, you can change weather patterns, you can change big global events on the planet for people that know how to use this energy. Okay, it's like you become a shaman of primordial life force, the same way that you're working with natural energies of the earth, plants, water, right? Because water is one of the most powerful healing energies, and sexual energy is represented by water, because we're mostly made of water, right? So it's really the mastery of the waters of your life force. So yeah, so there's you've addressed many of my concerns here, but I will look for your lesson as well. Thank you so much, very much. Thank you so much, Lady Anne. Yeah, it's a really deep topic. So a couple of things I would, Montauk Chia is really good at talking about some of these things when it comes to sexual alchemy. So I would definitely suggest looking at some of his work. Always make sure that you're doing your shadow work and clearing the energy body before you're doing any of those transmutational practices. Okay, really important. Yeah, so hope that helps. All right, guys, thank you so much for joining me. As always, it is an honor and a pleasure, and I hope to see you soon. I'll see you guys next week. Love you so much. Bye.